You know what? It has been a hot minute. Let's get back to it. We're going to be looking at another creature from Monster Core. Let's see what we get. Looks like the Vampire Servitor. Alright. Gonna go ahead and remove that, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back. It's time to take a look at this thing. So the Vampire Servitor is a level 4. Vampires use their Servitor pawns for infiltration and reconnaissance. They are common and thus have a standard recall knowledge DC, and for religion, primarily. They are medium, undead, unholy, and vampires, of course. Too, you can make them small or large depending on what ancestry they're technically derived from. They are level 4. And at level 4 they have a 12 perception, which is a little over moderate. They have dark vision. They speak common +1 regional language. They have an 11 in athletics, which is just between moderate and high. A 9 in athletics, which is just above low. 8 in intimidation, which is low. Society 5, which is terrible. And a stealth of 12, which is high. They have 3 strength, which is moderate. 5 dexterity, which is high. +1 con, -1 intelligence, +3 wisdom, and +2 charisma, which is low. Their AC is 22, which is a little higher than high. Fortitude of 9, reflex of 13, and will of 11, which are, let's see, a little over low, a little under high, and right on moderate, respectively. And they have 40 hit points, which is really low, like really, really low for level 4. It's 2 below the minimum listed, but they have Coffin Restoration, which is a vampire thing, Fast Healing 5, which is important to why their hit points are so low, and Void Healing, so they heal negative energy instead of positive, or instead of vitality. That part's pretty straightforward. They're immune to death effects, disease, paralyze, poison, sleep, and have resistance to physical damage 5, except for silver, which is a little lighter weight than what higher end vampires have, requiring magical silver. They have vampire vulnerabilities, which we'll scroll down and get to. So they have vampire vulnerabilities, which are all of the following things. They are compelled. So they are creatures with strange and unknowable compulsions. A typical vampire cannot voluntarily cross running water unless they're transported while they hide in their coffin, nor can they enter a private dwelling unless invited by somebody with the authority to do so. And at your discretion, that being the GM's, vampires might have different compulsions. A pirate vampire might not be able to set foot on solid ground without being invited, for example. A vampire can still be forced to do these things and might be able to overcome their compulsion just as they do their revulsions, which we will see in a moment. Speaking of revulsions, a vampire can't voluntarily come within 10 feet of brandished garlic or brandished religious symbol of a deity with a holy sanctification option, which, fun fact, that means that Pharasmans, the big anti-undead people, can't repel undead with their holy symbols, or their religious symbols. Because you cannot sanctify holy with Pharasma, if I'm not mistaken. But that aside, to brandish garlic or a religious symbol, a creature must interact to do so, which is 1 action with the manipulate trait, and it remains brandished for 1 round, similar to raising a shield. If a vampire involuntarily comes within 10 feet of the object of their revulsion, they gain the fleeing condition, which forces them to run away, running from the object of the revulsion until they end an action beyond 10 feet. After 1 round of being exposed to the subject of the revulsion, a vampire can attempt a DC 25 will save as a single action, which has the concentrate trait. On a success, they overcome their revulsions for 1d6 rounds, or 1 hour on a critical success. Stakes. A wooden stake driven through a vampire's heart drops the vampire to 0 hit points and prevents them from healing above 0 hit points, even in their coffin. Staking a vampire requires 3 actions and works only if the vampire is unconscious. If the stake is removed, the vampire can heal above 0 HP again, and if they're in their coffin, the 1-hour rest period begins the moment the stake is removed. And if their head is severed and anointed with holy water while the stake is in place, they're destroyed. Sunlight, the most powerful part, is while exposed to direct sunlight, a vampire immediately becomes slowed 1. This slowed value increases by 1 each time the vampire ends their turn in sunlight, and the condition ends when they are no longer in sunlight. If the vampire loses all their actions in this way, they're destroyed. Due to their supernatural aversion to light, vampires don't cast shadows or show reflections in mirrors, which I guess they didn't have a much better place to put that little bit. It's related to light, I suppose, but it feels like that should be in its own thing. But anyway, they have a speed of 25 and a climb speed of 25, so they're very mobile, but not overly fast. These are the least of vampire kind. They have a plus 14 to hit claw, which plus 14 is a high attack bonus. They're agile and do 1d8 plus 6 slashing plus grab, so they're able to grab onto you pretty easily. The damage of 1d8 plus 6 is average 10, which is just slightly above low here for them, and thus appropriate for a high attack agile, with an extra on there. They have drink blood, and as 1 action, and when drinking blood, they regain 5 hit points. To clarify on drinking blood, it requires that they have a grab, paralyzed, restrained, unconscious, or willing creature within their reach. The vampire sinks their fangs into that creature to drink their blood. This requires an athletics check against the victim's fortitude DC if the victim is grabbed, and is automatic for any of the other conditions. The victim is drained 1, and the vampire regains HP equal to 10% of their maximum HP. In this case, it's about 5. Gaining any excess HP as temporary hit points. Drinking blood from a creature that's already drained doesn't restore HP to the vampire, but increases the victim's drained value by 1, killing the victim when it reaches drain 5. A vampire can also consume blood that's been emptied into a vessel for sustenance, but they gain no HP from doing so. And unlike normal drain, which decreases in 1 day, the drain from a vampire attack decreases by 1 per week. But a blood transfusion, which requires a DC 20 medicine check, and sufficient blood or a blood donor, reduces the drain by 1 after 10 minutes. So naturally it will decay slower, but you can artificially speed it up and do it even faster than normal. And they have sneak attack. They deal 1d6 extra precision damage to off-guard creatures. So relatively straightforward and simple. Their main thing is kind of introducing characters and players to the generalized mechanics of vampires without getting really heavy into the other things that they can do. They don't have like the higher end vampiric powers like Children of the Night or anything like that. And there's something I actually want to check in the Legacy version, because I think they changed Drink Blood. Let's see here. So yes, they did change Drink Blood. It's a small detail, but one that is, I think, important, in that prior, Drink Blood would increase the drain value, just like it did in the new version, but you would have to actually drain a person to death, which can get pretty hefty. Now, in the new version, specifically, the creature will die at drained 5. So they have shortcutted it a little bit. Generally speaking, before you would have had to at least reached drained 7, I think, at the worst. Now they shortcutted it to drained 5 as an instant death, which can be really scary. If a vampire really leans into drinking your blood, they could potentially hit you 2 to 3 times a round. Especially since I don't believe Drink Blood has the attack trait. It does not. So they can spam this. Overall, it's pretty well balanced for a level 4 creature. It's got nothing crazy going on overall. It's a very good introductory to its mechanics, without being too crazy. You could meet this at potentially level 1 or level 2 and it'd be really rough to handle, but grow into this and its masters and other varieties at higher levels, reasonably speaking, up to level 12 or so, where Vampire Guardians would stop being much of an issue. But you can, of course, also create a vampire out of almost any creature and keep going up from there. So tell me what you think about the Vampire Servitor down below. If you're happy that the videos are coming back, I will be trying to do more of them. I had some issues with my computer that are now at least partially resolved, so I'm able to do this. And thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. If you check the description below, I have a bunch of free stuff on Patreon that I've released for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, ranging from dozens of creatures to archetypes, items, and extra rules as well. All of it's free, so please join if you would like to, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Hey there. I forgot something, and that was to point out what Coffin Restoration does. So, Coffin Restoration is a divine and void effect, and so unlike other undead, a vampire is not destroyed at 0 hit points, which normally would override that sort of thing. Instead, they fall unconscious, and if their body rests in their coffin for 1 hour, they gain 1 hit point, after which their fast healing begins to function normally again, and they can heal up quite quickly. Sorry about that little mishap. And again, see you in the next one.